Welcome, guys, to the Prowler Podcast. I'm your host today, Preston Pritchard, because I'm stepping in for a regular host, Will Pritchard. Like I said, he seems to have fallen off the wagon, so he's most likely somewhere at Silky's on Bill Street, Memphis. So if y'all see him, tell him make his way back. For those who don't know me, I'm the founder of the Prowler. If you're curious to learn more about me personally, just click the link in our the drop down below. It'll take you to a website where also, if you're a current athlete in college or high school looking to pursue the next level, feel free to fill out that questionnaire. It'll help us connect with you and hopefully take you to the next level. Today, we're thrilled to have Brad Foley with us. He's one of my former teammates at Belhaven University. We're going to dive into his college journey while also shedding light on his high school recruiting experiences in football. He's from Memphis, Tennessee, where he went to play football at MUS, Memphis University School. And he brings a unique perspective to the table due to showing athletes that they can also transform into a coach later down the road. So he's going to show us both perspectives. Without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Brad as he introduces himself and shares some more about his background.
Gotcha, man. I appreciate that, Preston. Like you said, I'm Brad Foley, man, from Memphis, Tennessee. Played at Belhaven with Preston for, 2-3 years maybe?
Yeah,
can't remember.
3 years, I think.
Yeah, man. We saw the struggle days at Belhaven, but I played under Harold Mummy my first year, and then the last 4 years of my career, I played under Coach McCorkle. We saw the struggle of the program, then we saw the light at the end of the tunnel, and now I'm benefited from those culture-driven lessons from Coach McCorkle as we won the conference championship last year with me being a part of that coaching staff. But we can dive into it, Preston. I appreciate you again for having me on.
There's no problem, Brad. And one of the first things we're going to talk about, we got the transfer portal nowadays, and everybody's looking to jump schools real quick. And, that's totally different at the D3 level, but It's also hard to recruit at the D3 level. So to talk about Coach McCorkle and how he turned that program around, a lot of people might not know the history behind Belhaven, but they didn't have much of a winning culture before he came there. What do you think was the best way he turned that program around and was able to retain talent like he was able to? Because as we saw when Hal Mummy was there, Mummy was not able to retain that talent. There was a lot of players that left after one semester even. So how do you think he was able to conquer that and keep that established for those 3 years he finished off there these past?
Yeah, for sure. I would say the first thing was getting the guys that he already had on campus to buy into the process or what he was trying to preach to us, what he wanted us to believe in. Because, if you know anything about football, if you don't have a good culture, your team can easily fold and shatter. And I believe my first year at Belhaven that our team we didn't really have a very strong culture. And like you kind of mentioned just a few seconds ago about retaining players, you don't win a lot of football games with a lot of freshmen and sophomores on the field. You got to have those juniors, seniors, fifth-year guys to set the standard for your team. They got to be the glue of the team because you're depending on 18-year-old, 19-year-olds coming straight out of college. You're going to set yourself up for a long, long season because those guys are inexperienced coming to a college level, depending on, it doesn't matter if it's D1, D2, D3. Hey, these guys are bigger, faster, and stronger than I am. They've been in the weight program, so naturally it's going to be a learning curve. It's going to be a speed change. So those younger guys really got to catch on quick. And if you know anything about the D3 level, we don't get the luxury of practicing in the summertime. Yes, we can work out in the summer, but organized practice, organized meetings, we cannot start that until 21 days before our first game. So trying to depend on a freshman to come in and lead your program is really impossible for any Division III program. That's why you see a lot of things like Mount Union being so consistent in the playoffs, winning national championships like that because they're retaining all of these really good players for 4 years. I could say with my senior class, I graduated with 7 seniors my senior year, 2021. This past season, we graduated about 22 seniors, and they won the conference championship. So retaining the players, that definitely means something. And that's going after the right player because, like you said, the transfer portal is crazy right now. We got to basically recruit our players all year long. We got to make them feel good. We got to make sure that they're happy, make sure that they want to be in the place. So that as coaches, we got to keep doing things to make these guys want to come back. And then when you start winning games, it's hard to leave a program when you're winning. It's easy to leave when you're losing. Or most people get unsatisfied with winning because they're not playing. They don't want to sacrifice playing time for winning. You got to give up something if you want to reach a goal, reach a championship, reach the playoffs. So uh, right now it's changing, man. NIL is crazy. It's wide open. It's like the wild, wild west. NCAA has no control over what's going on. I feel
Nope.
like I feel like they rushed everything that's happening right now. Like I feel like they got pressed and they were like, all right, we're just gonna open up the floodgates.
Yeah, I feel like I
Go ahead.
definitely feel like they got pressured into this, so they thought due to that they needed to open up NIL all the way without
Yeah.
any restrictions. And now we're seeing a lot of side effects of that, especially in the transfer portal, because at the D1 level, we see a lot of kids chasing for money more than their reputation anymore.
It doesn't matter how good of a coach you are anymore. It doesn't matter what kind of facilities you have anymore. It's, hey, how much you gonna give me an NIL without
Yep.
even stepping on a college field?
Yep.
People are wanting money up front, and it's kind of scary right now because, like, for a lot of colleges, they're not Texas, they're not Alabama.
Nope.
The group of four, the group of five or whatever. How can they compete with the power four?
Right.
So like, how can a little man win? The little man now are glorified JUCOs because all of these big time D1 schools are just plucking the best guys from, let's say, a University of Memphis, a University of Charlotte, or something like that. Just
Yeah, 'cause
plucking those guys and bringing them up, and they can do that.
and that's what I'll tell a lot of the recruits I get for the Prowler, because I get a lot of 4A high school players and lower, and
Yeah.
they don't see like they can't get to that D1 level due to the way the transfer portal is nowadays, because a lot of the Power Five schools are not taking high school athletes anymore.
Yeah.
It's one of the dynamics we're seeing, it's slowly transforming constantly every day due to the NCAA not really changing many regulations. It doesn't look like they're going to.
Yeah.
We're entering year 3, I think it is now, with the environment like it is, and it doesn't seem to be changing. So
just think about it this way, Preston. High school kids, they are in the worst position ever. We're finally phasing out of the kids. I think this is the last year of COVID kids,
Yep.
where you got that extra year of eligibility. We're finally phasing out that kid. All right, so now you got the transfer portal, you got the COVID year, and then you got all these 5th, 6th-year guys on your team. If you're a coach, are you going to go after a kid that has college experience? He's already been in a weight program at the college level. He's already knowing the speed of the game. Or are you going to go after the kid coming from high school that hasn't faced the kind of competition or hasn't been through the type of adversity that another college student has been in? So right now it's a tough position because a lot of these big time schools, let's say Alabama, you're not getting an offer from Alabama unless you're that guy.
yeah,
They're taking almost less than 10 high school kids now. And it's kind of scary because everybody wants to win now. And the pressure to win now is real. It doesn't matter where you at. Let's look at Colorado, Deion Sanders.
Yep.
The height that Deion Sanders brought to Colorado had the expectation through the roof. But everybody forgot that Colorado was 1-11 the year before Deion got there. So
literally.
like,
And that,
come on now. The expectation is real, the pressure is real. So of course these guys don't try to go get the best guys out there to jumpstart their program. Which you should.
Because it's their lifeline, their coaching job is on the line if they don't win, It's like Dabo Swinney, everybody's talking about why he can't adapt to the new culture. Well, he doesn't want to. He wants to keep growing kids and nurturing them because that's what he believes in, We don't see Dabo dabbling too much in the transfer portal, And I think we're going to see those kind of dynamics. That's ultimately why Nick Saban stepped down. Yeah, he was getting older, but he also did not like where college football was heading,
You can't have a team full of eyes, man. What you going to do for me? Nah, we can't. I've been winning years before this NIL stuff, and that's what I believe in. Hey, sometimes you just got to stand on morals and principles, and I feel like Saban did what was best for him.
I totally agree. And, whether you like him or not, he's going to go down as one of the probably if not the all-time greatest college football coach of all time. So
no doubt.
Some respect is going to be held there. But talking about the transfer portal, Brad, do you think it would have impacted your college path that you took if it was like it is now?
I'm not talking. I played Division III football, so I'm not talking down on it. for our culture right now, our team at Belhaven, we don't have any problems with the transfer portal because if you're not that guy at the Division 3 level, you can stop dreaming about somebody from a Division 1 school coming to pluck you. If you're not an All American and you don't have several years of eligibility, none of these big time schools are coming to pluck you out. And if you do decide to transfer, you're just gonna get lost in the shuffle, just like a lot of the other kids out here that's in the transfer portal. Because I don't think you know, but about 40%, maybe more than that, of those kids that enter the transfer portal would never play football again
Yep.
because nobody, all these kids in the D3 portal saying I'm here in the portal. A lot of those kids are never getting an opportunity unless they go to another Division 3 school, and a lot of kids' mindset isn't like that. So I
Correct.
would say it wouldn't affect my path because I didn't have anything coming out. I had a couple walk-ons to play DB, a couple walk-ons to play running back. I had a Division 2 offer up in like Minnesota or something like that. So I didn't have very many options. Belhaven was my option. And then when I toured it, I loved it. I got there, I played right away, which was an amazing thing. Just it was a testament to my work ethic, getting on the field really early as a freshman. So I wouldn't have changed my path for anything. And I'm the type of person that if I start something, I'm gonna finish it. Because I know
Yep.
when I got my COVID year back, everybody was like, "Hey, you can transfer right away and get to a bigger school or whatever." And I was like, "Nah, man, I got business to handle where I started at." Because I went 2-8 for 3 years straight at Belhaven University, and I had an opportunity to have the best season in the school's history at that time. Since then, we've had two more seasons with better records than that. But I had an opportunity to do something great with a program, and we did that. And I wouldn't change my decision for nothing in the world.
Yeah. And that speaks volume because, a lot of kids nowadays are not thinking that way,
Yeah,
and it's frustrating because, yeah, I get the D1 level and why you want to chase money at the end of the day because you don't know how
yeah,
long your career is going to last, but also you need to chase your legacy because go somewhere like, you went to Belhaven, suffered 2 and 8 years pretty much, and the next year wasn't much better, but
yeah,
you ultimately finished your college journey as a leading rusher at Belhaven, right?
yeah.
I mean, granted, it's been taken away by another running back that you pretty much matured into what he is now, if we had to say anything. But, we don't see that much no more, even at the D1 or D2 route anymore.
I
It's
always say, go finish it. Go ahead.
it's always, they jump bed to wherever they can get the next playing time. Prime example
Yeah,
is Quinshon Junkins. He had the life at Ole Miss, but he chose to go chase the money at Ohio State,
yeah.
So now we're going to see if he can compete with Dallas Turner, all of those guys up there. So,
So I always say this, man. When it comes to recruiting, self-reflection is the best reflection. If you're not reflecting on yourself and being realistic with your expectations, you will always set yourself up for failure because you have to think about it. Let's say, just take running backs. I play running back. If you're not running a 4.4 or a 4.5 40, and you're not, let's say, 185 to 200 pounds, they're not checking for you. They're not
no,
checking for you. If you don't have the film to back up the type of player that you say you are, they're not checking for you. You got to be realistic to where you want to go. I get a lot of these schools now offer kids preferred walk on. Preferred walk on. Preferred walk on to me essentially means, hey, you're not good enough to get an offer, but we need to fill this roster space. We can give you this opportunity to try to get a scholarship, but next year we're gonna go find somebody in the transfer portal anyways, and you're probably never gonna get that scholarship unless you're just that guy. You got this type
correct.
of look at it. So I always say, man, go where you want it. Go where you know you're gonna get an opportunity to play. And if you're not playing, look in the mirror and ask yourself, why are you not playing? And please do not say, bruh, the coach hate me. He hating on me. He not gonna let me shine. He wants the senior to play in front of me. This, that, and the third. Like, be realistic with yourself. Like, what are you doing to get on the field, and what are you doing to not be on the field? Because a lot of kids don't have their work ethic anymore, man. Everybody want everything to be handed to them. The social media done took over the world, so everybody thinks, "Oh, I'm better than this guy. Why don't I have what he have?" Well, you don't have the intangibles. If you
Yep.
know anything about D1 recruiting, D1, D2, it's all about intangibles, bro. Like
Yep.
you can be the worst D lineman or offensive lineman ever, but if you're 6'5", 315, you're gonna get an offer from somebody because you can't teach size. So
No.
it's all about self reflection, man.
You can't. And, you talk about PWOs. I mean, I had a kid last year offer PWO to go to Mississippi State, and he had several D2 and NAII offers. And I told him, I was like, I would not take that because at the end of the day, that's just a roster fill spot. They just want one more man on the team. And all you're going to be used as most like a practice squad dummy. You don't want to be that. You want to go somewhere you can get some playing time. And if you do ball out, then you might get the shot to actually get a real spot there.
That's the day and age that we are in, man. If you go D2, a D1, the next year can come pluck you right from there because you're too good to be there.
Yep.
You're too good to be there. It's just all about patience, timing, and being realistic, bro.
Correct. And so he ended up going to Faulkner University down in Montgomery. And I wish him the best because he's got great size. He's a 6'2", 192 linebacker, runs a 4.59. If he gets a little faster and gets a little bit bigger, he's gonna be. I won't be surprised if someone comes looking for him. So
yeah.
And but no, you talk about the mentality and stuff for these kids. Yes, size and everything is big, but when you get down to the D2 and D3 level, it's not just your size speaking. Then it's your academics that speak volume. Because the coach ain't gonna take a kid that's got 2.5. That I told kids all that.
Nobody's gonna take that kid. If you don't have the grades. Luckily, they're going away from the ACT, so a lot of these kids don't have to take the ACT. But if you're struggling in the classroom and you think you're this, that, and the third, you will be going JUCO easily. So grades are number one priority.
And kids don't even realize that Mississippi JUCOs, they only take 6 to 8 athletes out of state every year.
Yeah,
that's not where they focus their priorities on. They take a lot of in-state athletes and a lot of in-state dropouts from Ole Miss, Mississippi State, and Southern Miss. It's where that's just the fact where the facts lay there. And a lot of high school kids here in Alabama, Tennessee, and across the South don't realize that. One of the few states that don't have those limitations is California. JUCO,
I respect what JUCO does, but every kid is not a JUCO kid.
No,
every kid is not about that lifestyle. Like that lifestyle is gritty, it's tough, it's demanding. Like, know what you're signing up for before you just say, I'm going JUCO to try to. Yes, you can better yourself in a lot of other places. And let's be real with yourself. Everybody is not making it to the NFL or the CFL today. Like, all right, it's okay to go to a lower level. Lower level athletes get drafted all the time. So this past year, we had a guy, Cole McAlpin. He had an opportunity to go work out for the Los Angeles Chargers at a Division III level. So, like, it doesn't matter where you at. If you're good enough, if you have the right size, you have the right type of intangibles, they will come find you.
I mean, prime example of that, Brad, and his journey was a little bit different, but he did make the NFL and get drafted. Javon Wims. He started off at Belhaven. Yeah, he went to community college after that and grinded for a year, and then ended up at Georgia. But, if you could find your path and if you're good enough, you can make it there, So that's what every athlete's got to realize. It's not just about where you start or where you end. It's about your dedication to the game. So it's what speaks to a lot of kids, and they got to realize nowadays. So, but talking about like recruiting services and stuff, which is what the Prowler is. Did you use any recruiting service in high school to benefit yourself, or add to any more recognition you could receive?
The way that I recruit, I would say it's more old school. Like, I'm the type of guy, I love to go to the schools, man. I love to go to the school. I love to see the kids. I love to kind of build that relationship face to face, so I can really get a real feel of how the kid is. Because, like, yes, I can DM a whole lot of kids on Twitter, but if I don't get on the phone with them, I don't see them in person, it's very, very tough for me to really get a grasp on who this kid is. If he put on a facade, is he being phony? But I do use Twitter a lot for recruiting. I don't offer kids off Twitter. I'm not a Twitter coach, and I don't want to offer kids off just film. I communicate through Twitter because that's what every kid is on now. I get on that. We back and forth, we message, and I try to get the kids up on a visit to get their in-person feel if I never got the opportunity to meet them in a school. As far as a recruiting app or recruiting service, I have not used the recruiting service fully yet. But I do get tons of emails from a lot of recruiting services every day promoting a lot of kids. So the recruiting services are effective because we are seeing those things. And I know some of my colleagues actually use those to help themselves in recruiting, especially if it's in a recruiting area. Yep.
Gotcha. So, talking about that, did you personally use any recruiting service in your high school journey coming into college?
Coming in hot, no, I didn't do anything. I kind of really back my coaches, put my name out there. Uh, I never was that guy that DM'd 1,000 coaches, bet on myself trying to get some guys to give me an opportunity. I kind of just, when the coaches fell into MUS, I had made conversation with them. We talked, we discussed possible opportunities. Like I told you, some of the coaches wanted me to play defensive back in college, and I've never played defensive back besides a handful of snaps in high school. Like I wasn't a full-time starter or anything like that. My whole thing is I wanted to play running back, but all of my stuff came in person. Honestly, if we're being honest, I really didn't even know about the recruiting services in high school, so I didn't really understand how it worked either. I just kind of thought it was word of mouth from the coaches.
Yeah, that's what a lot of kids, run into, and that's what here at the Prowler we're trying to make ourselves different because we don't want the athlete just thinking they're throwing money at the wall. That's why every single kid we had sign on with us last year is playing college football this fall. Even the baseball player we had is going to play baseball this year. And the reason I think we're different is because everything's automated with us. All the messages are going to be messaged to the coaches. All your emails are going to be generated and emailed to coaches. And we all use their direct X and direct Gmail. So it's not like it's coming from our recruiting service. It's coming directly from the player, but it's our system that is encoded in their system. So that's what makes us different in a lot of ways. And I tell kids all the time, pound coaches all the time on X because that's the only way you're going to get recognized. If you don't sign on with our system, just do that because that's the best way you're going to get exposure.
My thing is too, like it might seem annoying. It do get annoying sometimes when a kid constantly DMs you on Twitter, but it's effective. We're gonna remember your name. We're gonna watch your film. We're gonna check it out. We see it enough. Sometimes our DMs get super flooded with recruits trying to get recruited. So we have that thing on Twitter or X where you have the messages where you have your followers, and then you have the other one that you don't even see that the unopened messages that kind of if you don't follow those guys, they go into a separate folder. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm a suspect of that. Sometimes I forget that that's even there, and I go in there and I'm like, dang, this kid did DM me here 2 weeks ago, and I try to get back, but.
So when you do come to games, Brad, I know you look for what happens on the field in their playing time, but I know this from my experience. You're definitely paying attention to these off-field, characteristics, how they act when they come off the field with their helmet. Do they throw it? Do they cheer up the teammates? Because we can see a lot of personality traits on the sideline that could cause a lot of locker room trouble and tension, and we saw that early on at Belhaven. So I'm sure you know what to look for in that areas, but these high school athletes need to know that, So
I can really go back to my high school days, man. I was a butthead to my coach. Me and the OC, we got into it a lot. I had some years in high school, especially my junior year. We didn't have the best line, so I got frustrated a lot. I thought I should be used in different ways. And me and the OC, we just butted heads. It got to the point where the head coach was like, Brad, just take off and run laps because I just couldn't control my temperament. And I truly do feel like that little fiasco that I had with the OC and with certain coaches, it could have affected my recruiting because when coaches come in, they're gonna ask the coach, how is his character? How is he outside of football? How is the family life? Stuff like that. And that matters. If a coach tells another coach that you have bad character, they're usually gonna scratch you off the list quick, no questions asked, because they're not trying to bring a cancer to their program. So what your head coach or OC thinks about you, hey, that goes a long way, and you got to put a really, really good impression on them. Another thing I would say, man, social media got to be clean. I know high school, I was on high school wilding out. I was posting pictures about the other team. I had the middle finger up. So I was getting in trouble about all that stuff. Luckily, some of the coaches caught on to it, made me delete it all. And it even trickled until when I got to college. I just said the wrong things on social media that made my coaches look bad. So I kind of regret that in a sense. I don't kind of regret it. I regret it because once I put all of that BS aside and I just focused on playing football, I became so much of a better football player because I got tired of being in trouble, man. I remember one day my head coach, Coach Quilker, he was like, "You're the laziest football player I've ever seen." And I was like, whoa, hold on now. I ain't never been a lazy coach. Like, he told me that, and I was like, all right, let me do a little self-reflecting, bro. So after that, that's when I really took off and I excelled on the football field because I always knew what I could do. They always knew what I could do. It was just the point of them unleashing that out of me. And that's all it took for my coach to call me lazy and all that. But to go back to recruiting or whatever, when a coach comes to a game, to be honest, we're not really recruiting you off what you do in the game. The best thing that we can do is come to a practice because you see all of the ugly stuff at practice. So if you see a college coach at practice, we're seeing how you go through drills. We're seeing how you practice. What's your body language? Are you bending over? We're seeing all that stuff in real time. Are you being a leader on the field? Are you walking on and off the field? Like, what are the little things that you're doing? Like in the game, when we go to the games, yes, we go to the games to experience it. We want the kids to see that we're there so they can play better. They can get amped. Like, look, we had Belhaven there this weekend, man. Look, that's some good things. Every coach loves to see a college coach on the field. So I say personally, when we go to games, it's more for our just personal benefit. Yes, we might see some real spectacular plays, or we might see a guy that we didn't see at practice make a few flashes. But for the most part, when we come to practice, this gives us the opportunity to talk with the coaches. The coach can put us on game about certain players, under the radar players, and that's when we can really go back and dive into the film and stuff like that. So when you see us at practice, that means really, really big time. And hey, y'all better get y'all stuff together because we watching that. And then game time, most of the time we at a game, we might pop at your game for the first quarter, then we're gonna pop to another game in the second, and then after that we're gonna pop to a third game in the third quarter because we're trying to see get to as many schools as we can in that one night. So the practice thing is really, really a big deal.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Yeah, talking about that social media thing that's why if an athlete signs on with us, we ask for access to their social media because we're going to automatically clean it all up. I mean, when you pay us to be involved, we're going to make sure you're the cleanest possible athlete. So, because your social media is important. If you're on there drinking, smoking, all that does not look good on you,
Yep.
Now, if you do that behind closed doors, that's up to you. That's what you choose to do with your lifestyle, but you don't need to be airing that out on the media because
everybody got a burner account nowadays.
So
I'm just talking,
and they're not gonna like that at all. I mean, we all been there and done that. I mean, heck, we know that Brad from our past experiences. But looking back, we know what not to do now. And if we were to redo it as an athlete, I think we would have redone a lot of things different, But that's why you
hard head make a soft behind, man. It only takes you so many times until it clicks. Sometimes you might run out of opportunities before you can fix it. But when you on that last leg and you got that last opportunity, you really turn around, it helps a lot because I know I got a lot of strikes in my life. I got a lot of grace, a lot of saving grace. So I'm really grateful for every opportunity that I got because I know I could have thrown it away really, really fast. And I'm not even bad. I wasn't even a bad kid. I just sometimes had a smart mouth. So,
hey, I've seen it a lot of it. From all the way through my brother's recruiting journey, from out of high school to where he is now, and everything else. There's a characteristic you catch on along the way, and you see a lot of things too. Especially in each different people's journey. Just starting this recruiting service, talking to the people I've connected with, and there's parts of the Southeast that think of football totally different than what we think in Memphis. It's a lot of different culture. You get down to like South Florida and stuff, that they breathe and live football year round.
Hey, don't get me started on this conversation, man. Don't get me started on this. When we talk about Memphis high school athletics, it makes my blood boil every time I think about it. So
I get to in arguments all the time here in Huntsville because these North Alabama guys think football and basketball up here is good. I'm like, man, come to Memphis. Y'all haven't seen shit yet. You haven't seen shit.
I'm on facilities and all this type of stuff that we don't have in Memphis because I recruit I recruit South Louisiana and I recruit like New Orleans, Baton Rouge, Slidell, all that stuff. And it's just like what they have facility wise and what most of the inner city schools in Memphis have facility wise is night and day. And I just feel like
Yep.
we can do a lot of good if the right people get into the Board of Education and really pour their money into those athletics because those kids deserve it. And hey, you can't if you're thinking about it, all the private schools in Memphis have really, really nice facilities. MUS,
Yep.
Briarcrest, ECS, you name it. They all got really, really good facilities. Then you look at places like White Station, I don't know, Kingsbury, even East, all these inner city schools, they don't even have their own stadium. None of that weight room looks like it hasn't been redone in a long, long time. It's like, hey, we gotta start pouring that money into these athletics in Memphis because it really means a lot. If you want to get the academics up, you got to get the athletics up because at the end of the day, these kids want to play sports, and if you don't have good grades, you can't play those sports. If you don't have good facilities, these kids won't want to play these sports because
Correct.
but
And, you know, but that brings a whole other culture into perspective of Memphis. I've seen, I went to Bolton High School, which is, used to be the biggest public high school in Memphis at one point in time. And I've seen some of the grittiest basketball, baseball, and football players come out of there because of what we had to work with. We there wasn't much to work with. We all shared a weight room with every single sports group. I mean, yeah, we had our own football field, but trust me, that football field had freaking holes in it left to right. There wasn't much maintenance for it. So
dirt holes.
It's a totally different atmosphere, and when you come out of that kind of environment, you're a lot more grateful. You see a lot of those kids be a lot more grateful once they get that opportunity,
Yeah.
Hey, a prime example of that is Thaddeus Young coming out of Melrose back in the day, Look where that man is now, he's been NBA All-Star several times, so
Yeah.
there's a lot of players that come out of the Memphis region all the time that I tell people that they're just slept on due to the facilities not being up to date,
Yeah. We got a lot of talent in the league right now, man. A lot of talent.
But with that being said, some of the last thoughts before we get to our Prowler spotlight for this podcast is, we already talked about the NIL and transfer portal and everything, and how it's kind of like a free agency now. But what's one positive you could say about the NIL and transfer portal, like that you can tell high school athletes how to kind of maneuver it?
I would say, can you hear me? I feel like it's breaking up.
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. I feel like the one positive thing is, I mean, don't get me wrong, the transfer portal is good if it's used for the right reason. I feel like a lot of these kids are in really, really good situations, but somehow they're wanting more. It's a lot of kids transferring from places like Ohio State. Like you're at one of the most prestigious colleges in the world. But I understand circumstances are different. Coaches move on and get different jobs and all that. But I feel like with the transfer thing being you don't have to sit out anymore, that's really good for these kids because some of these kids need to move back closer to home. But some of these kids aren't really getting opportunities where they are at. And having the ability to transfer to another school and get another opportunity somewhere else to play. I think that's a real, real big positive. I just wish there was a way to control it. I wish it was, hey, you have to have a legitimate excuse. You can't just transfer because Alabama wants to offer you $200,000 in NIL money. That shouldn't be the reason that you transfer. So I feel like it's good. It's a good and bad thing when it comes to that transfer portal.
Yeah, and I think if the transfer portal was like it is now without the NIL, we would think of it totally different. Because I think the NIL lures, kids to take that more money, because they never had it.
They made the NIL and transfer portal too close together. They
Yep.
put both of those things together. All right, now that's where all the poachers come in. All these big boosters are making these big pools of money that doesn't have anything to do with the football program, and they're snatching these kids off, man. You got coaches, DM and high school coaches. Hey, tell your boy get in the transfer portal. I got a bag for him. Woody woo. So it's like, look, it's really nothing you can do. It's the wild, wild west, man. It's free game. When there's a will, there's a way, and it doesn't matter what the NCAA does at this point. All these colleges are going to find a way to get the kid that they want to come to their university. They might get some sanctions or they might get some fines for tampering, but those things be like a little brush on the shoulder. It's going to go away. A little fine. What's $500,000 to Michigan or whatever? So
Yep.
it's
You
kind
know,
of hard, man. It's tough.
we're talking NIL right now. I don't know if you've heard, Brad, but Florida and Georgia is bringing NIL to high school level.
Tennessee too.
Yeah, well, Tennessee just approved. Yeah,
Yep.
Tennessee also, and Alabama's voting on it right now. So,
And look at that. All
what
these
is-
colleges can do. I mean, all these colleges can just pour these kids to these high schools because they can pour their money to them high school kids now. And
Yep.
boom, they can try to get them aboard early. So it's crazy, bro. It's not college football anymore. It's not pure. It's not pure.
It's ultimately the semi-pros, man. And I think the reason that we're in the position we are now is because the NFL dropped the ball. They never created a minor league, as we could say, like the MLB.
Yeah.
MLB's got the major league, you got the minor leagues. Minor leagues, you can still go draft a high school player, right?
In a sense, that's the XFL now, though.
Yeah, it is, but the NFL doesn't endorse the XFL at all. They don't even boost them. They don't even give them any money. And NFL is the biggest organization in sports world.
Yeah.
It's I think ultimately they dropped the ball, and the NCAA thought they had to close the gap for that, and that's why they did what they did.
Don't get me wrong, man. Don't get me wrong. Hey, I love that these kids getting paid, bro, but I just wish it was some type of structure to it. I wish they had a plan for a lot of these kids. Because you think about a lot of these kids aren't coming from the best backgrounds.
No.
Seeing that type of money before. You're going to give this young man this type of money with no plan, no financial literacy, no savings account set up. Oh, we're just going to give you this, give you that, or whatever. Like, I just wish they kind of taught these kids about what type of responsibility comes with this type of money. Because if I'm an 18-year-old kid, what am I buying? What my coach about? We buy shoes, we buy chains, we buy cars. Oh, I gotta go buy my mom's a house because look, we've been living over here, this, that, and the third. So it's like, hey, you gotta find ways to help these kids be smart with that money because these dollar signs are not small nowadays. They're not small.
Not at all, man. And it's changing. It's changing a lot of things because we see a lot of kids also getting in trouble that they shouldn't be in.
Yeah.
Because they're getting thrown at them, and that's all that, like you said, from where they're from, or they never have money before, so they don't know how to manage it. Also, so it's bringing a lot of dynamics to the sports world that a lot of people need to realize that there needs to be some limitations in place, because
too late.
I don't think it's too far gone now. So especially since it's coming to the high school level, I don't think it's anywhere able to roll back now. So. But
I'm getting paid now. Hey, look, you can't take that money away from me now. Y'all don't. Nope.
No,
I'm a player. Nope. Ain't no take back.
Exactly. But with that being said, we got about 3-ish weeks until EA Sports rolled back college football. 2025 is coming back for the first time since I think 2013, 2014.
Yeah.
So with thoughts around that, kids are. If they want to be in the game, they get paid,
like what, $500 or something like that?
Yeah. So what's your thoughts on that? Do you think that's justifiable for their name to be, using the game?
At the end of the day, they getting paid. Like a lot of these players are not NIL players. Every player is not an NIL player. So getting compensated for something is cool. And then plus you're in a game. You're a college player in a freaking game. Like I feel like that's enough. Like they were considerate enough to offer you this $500 to put your face in the game. What you gonna say? No, I don't want that money. Don't put me in the game. All right, cool. If that's me, look, give me my money. And, hey, I'm gonna go play with me every day. Like, exactly. I'm gonna show this to my kid. Like, look, this me. Like, come on now.
Yeah.
There's something you probably could never experience again. At the end of the day, everything is not about the money, bro. It's not about
I don't even think if it was personally me, I wouldn't even want the money. I just want to be in the game because I can look back at that one day with my grandkids or my kids and be like,
that's history, bro. That's history. This game has went out of commission for 11 years now, or whatever it was. This is history. We came back. We are the first one in a decade to be in this game. Like, I wouldn't trip. Y'all gave me something. I'm cool, man. Look, like you said, I'll take $100 if you wanted me to. Like,
Yeah, like I think if it's me, it's more than just money. It's more about your memories and that, and that sake in your legacy. That's why I go back to legacy so big. Takes a pride in
But
that
like,
more.
if you like a Travis Hunter or what's the kid name from Michigan or whatever, JJ McCarthy. If
Yeah,
you those two guys and you on the cover of the freaking game, oh yeah, you need to be getting some bread because their face, you can get paid. Y'all the face of the game right at this point. But other than that, if you just another guy in the game, man, why you even tripping, bro? You in the game, you blessed.
exactly. So millions and millions of kids are gonna play with you every day. So
exactly.
So since it's been like a decade since it's come back, what are you looking most forward to in the game? Are you gonna actually play it?
I ain't even gonna hold you, man. I don't even really remember playing it when it was out. So I'm not a big gamer in the first place.
Yeah.
Growing up, I had a game system, but I was on punishment all the time, so I never got the opportunity to even play the game. So it's like, yeah, I get it just because to say I have some friends come over, we can all play it together or whatever. But I get it, I try to play it. So, but I'm not one of those guys that's out here dying like I gotta have it, I gotta pre-order it or whatever. So,
yeah, no, I feel you, but no, thank you guys, everyone, for tuning in today's Prowler Podcast, and thank you, Brad, for jumping on. And we look forward to continuing to expand our awareness of our platform. We look forward to partnering with others who are serious about playing this sport at the next level. And our weekly quote is press on, obstacles are seldom the same size tomorrow as they are today. Robert Schuller. Next week's topic will most likely be another player, coach, or former coach and player, and we look forward to seeing you next week. You got any closing remarks, Brad, as we close them out today?
nah, man, just keep doing what you're doing, man. Spreading God's work, doing your thing, bro. It's gonna take off. You're doing a good thing right now. These kids need it. I know right now, like we was talking about the whole time, times are hard for the high school athlete. Hey, kids, just keep on grinding, keep on putting away. Never get satisfied. Never get discouraged for what you see on social media because that plays a lot of part in a lot of these kids' mentalities and the way that they feel about the game. Do not ever worry about what somebody else has, because eventually your time is gonna come, and then what is meant for you is gonna be for you in due time. And that's something that I learned over time, that I can't judge what he got and base that off my life. And now I'm gonna be miserable trying to compete with what he got because I don't have it. So hey, just stay down, stay humble, go get it. It doesn't matter where you go. You're playing the college sport. Only a small percentage of people actually get to play college sports, and even smaller percentage get to go to the league. So I never take an opportunity for granted. Like I said, coach at Belhaven now, man, we done seen some great things going on. We plan on going 10-0 this year, making it to the playoffs, going far in the playoffs. So, hey, if you guys never heard of Belhaven, hey, look us up. We on the rise, baby. We on the way. That's all I got, man. Appreciate you having me on.
Sure, guys. And like I said earlier, check out the website link at the below. And as always, Prowler up.
All right,